a lime in a coconut. In a coconut.
I wonder if any of Anne's folks are watching right now. Hi, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to Shenanigoons, the Book of Fables, where that kind of sorta fairy tale D&D adventure where you contribute to the chaos. I am Angela, your DM for this evening, and it is dark and mysterious in my room because we have a dark and mysterious session tonight. So, how's everybody doing? Hello, players.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
We're actually all here this time.
We are. It has been a while. So glad to see all these lovely faces, and so glad to see all these lovely names in the chat. Hello.
Hello, peoples.
Hope everybody's doing well today. I am going to turn up our music a little bit. And, oh, I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't have turned it up for you all. I probably should have just turned it up for me. That would be more sensical. But when have we ever been sensical here? All right. Oh, we got a puppy. Oh, that's so nice. Anyway. Thank you all so much for the hype train right off the bat. That just means we all remembered to subscribe with our Prime subscriptions again. Please remember, if you have Amazon Prime, there is literally no reason to not support us because you can do it for free. If you have it available. Obviously, share it with somebody. Don't not use it. But if you have it available, we'd love it. Anyway, we are here for chapter 38 of our adventure, 6 Thrones. I'm actually pretty proud of that title. And we are gonna explore what happened last week, right after we do a little bit of bookkeeping and a little bit of thank you. So, we are part of the Nerdsmith Network. We are the live action D&D streaming show on the Nerdsmith Network, and you can find out more about us at nerdsmith.org. And if you like what you watch tonight, if you're a first-time watcher, hello, please consider supporting us. You can do so at Patreon, patreon.com/nerdsmith. You help us keep the lights on, pay our artists and performers, and in general, just continue making cool, free, nerdy entertainment for you. We are also sponsored by some incredible companies. We are first and foremost sponsored by Eldritch Foundry, who makes these, who is a fantasy miniature design tool online that you can make, for example, our lovely audience or our lovely character images. We made the color and everything, but the original designs are part of their really cool custom art that they make. They recently just put out a bunch of new clothing designs that are really super pretty, so you should check them out. We are also sponsored by World ANVIL, the most robust campaign management and world building software on the internet. They have an amazing community, some really killer features. There's a new one coming out. I've been goofing off in the alpha, and it's really, really awesome. They are going to be updating the way that timelines are working, just as a little sneak peek of what kind of there. It is the Project Chronos, which is the project they've been working on, is combining maps and timelines, where you look at an event on a scrolling timeline, you can click on it, and it will show you on the map where it happened. It's very, very fun and very, very juicy, and I am a big fan. So please check that out soon. Right now it's exclusively alpha for, I believe, master and above subscriptions, but it'll be coming down the pike very, very soon as they're working out tweaks and basically programming the whole thing. And it's going to be super cool, so check it out. We are also, before you post it, Heather, let me change the thing for our Die Hard Dice. Die Hard Dice is one of our sponsors as well. They are purveyors of beautiful dice and dice accessories, and I'm gonna have this ready in a moment. Tessa, would you like to talk about our sponsor? And what is what we're featuring this month? It is the first Tuesday of the month.
It is. It is the first Tuesday of the month. Just give me half a second here. I need to light this up for a sec.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Take your time. Take your time. Isn't it
Really
hot in your
important.
room?
It is really hot.
Why
in
are
my
you
room,
lighting
so of course
fire in your room?
Well, okay, so it's really important, as every good witch knows, to have the proper tools for protection, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I've got my incense here, and this is Dragon's Blood incense, so that I can cleanse this set of dice, which is Dragon's Blood dice. Just leading into that today, as these are gorgeous.
They
with
are.
a slightly clear red in the shiny silver, which I am really enjoying. And I realize you probably can't see those very well, but
you can click the link in our chat to find the picture.
There you go. Dragon blood for the Dragon Blood God. Yes. So we're making sure that these are blessed by your local pagan for good rolls and good time. And maybe if I continue blessing these all month, I'll do a giveaway at the end of August for a very thoroughly cleansed and blessed set. But if you don't want to wait that long, you can go to dieharddice.com, get your own set of the Dragon Blood dice, use the code Nerdsmith at checkout for 10% off your order. So roll with the best and roll with Die Hard Dice. And now I've got to put this flaming thing out because it is extremely hot in my room.
I was gonna say. So.
Just do the finger lick thing. Do it. Just. You got this.
It would help if I didn't have a dash on it.
All right. Since, as I said, we are the D&D campaign where you contribute to the chaos, that means you are also part of our thank yous for today. You, as the audience, can affect our game. You can do all sorts of fun stuff as part of the reality of our story, where our adventurers spent quite a bit of time in a Fae environment. They came home to a clockwork, orderly world with a little bit of Fae magic surging around them every so often. So if you tip our show, you can affect the game and cause some chaos for the players and the characters. Please take a look at the bottom left of the screen as you see how you can contribute to the chaos. A $5 tip will allow you to gift a reroll to the party's reroll pool. That is a perpetual group of dice that they can, or rather a group of rerolls that they can use to reroll any d20s that they use during the game. That's throughout the campaign, it never goes away. You donate as many as you'd like. $15 tip tells the player of your choice to spin the wheel of causality, which is a chaotic wheel where we have a lot of meta and in-character wild magic nonsense happening. So you can have a bunch of stuff happen and trip us up. Basically, we've all consented. $25 allows you to help me create an NPC. We have had so much lovely experiences with the creating an NPC. People have been making all sorts of amazing members of our world. You give me a name, an appearance, their pronouns, a little bit of fun information about them, why they're there. Put that all in the comment of your tip, and I will incorporate them into the session. Some of them have turned into tremendously important characters to the campaign. So that's exciting. You can help us tell our story. And finally, $50 tip triggers DM Ex Machina, which one player of your choice gets 1 minute, 60 seconds of DM powers. They will be able to control the game as they see fit. Please take a look and consider tipping the show if you like us. And if you like us and you want to continue supporting us, Patreon's a really good way to do that. On the regular, though we do appreciate the tips and they cause nonsense. So, that is all we have as far as announcements. And let's get chatting. So, real quick, I know I always say that, and then it's like 15 minutes later. But honestly, very quickly, the party previously were making their way towards Faegro, a Fae tree that flew around in the air. You all encountered a group of, let's call them enthusiasts, maybe zealots would be a good word for them. A bunch of folks that follow the tree as it floats around, and they worship it as kind of like a good vibe time sort of thing. They play a lot of obnoxious music as they follow it and throw up pyrotechnics into the air. You got to know a few of them, including Manchu, a lute player with a monkey on his shoulder, Juniper, who had previously been up in the tree because she teleported up there, and then was promptly kicked out, and Evanora Greenleaf, a half-elf forest druid, who, you know, very quiet, not the best with people, but wanted to help and helped you guys figure out how to get up there. Oliette flew up with Paru to introduce herself, namely to, let's see, you introduced yourself to Percha, who was a Furbolg, and Porto, a massive myconid, who apologized because he has bitchy resting face. But you met the two of them and you introduced yourselves and you explained that you had come here to Faegro because of its connection to the Feywild. It is populated by Furbolgs who have an intrinsic connection to the Fey. They sort of ancestrally come from there. Myconids, which are Fey creatures, these mushroom people that Paru has a great number of friends who are Myconids. And elven folk, various Fey and elven folk. They all live up in the tree, connected to the Feywild plane. This place of wild magic that theoretically inspired the book you all lived in. But you're trying to go to the real one. And because your queens bid it, you're trying to get to the real queens of Fae. The idea that your queens, their majesties, in the book, are just facsimiles of the actual Fae queens. And you are trying to get an audience with them. Oliette manages to ask Her Majesty of the Word what she would wish to be called if Oliette was first meeting her. And very amused, but also feeling like perhaps it was time, granted Oliette that request and told her that she could refer to Her Majesty of the Word as Madame Solely. And with that information, she name-dropped a queen. No big deal. She's like my mom. It's not a big deal. And Paru also name-dropped the Baba Yaga as also a person of importance to Paru who she wants to meet and ask questions of and interact with. And upon telling them these figures of the Fae, who we need to talk to the Baba Yaga, you are granted access to a portal, and that portal is created in the tree. Vines start opening up, and fog emerges from the tree, and you find yourselves in a swamp, the swamp of the Feywild. And when Paru hears the distinct sounds of something very heavy walking through the swamp, you are delighted, some intensely intimidated, to find a house, a cottage. And it is walking on chicken legs, massive chicken legs. And that is exactly what you saw on Keith's drawings, Keith, the little Nakosta boy, that you assume is what the Baba Yaga lives in. So, Paru, you raced to find the house, to encounter the house, as it walks through the forest. And when you get there, so excited, this looming house, you hear another set of steps. And another, and another. And you find yourself looking behind the home of the Baba Yaga and finding 5 other houses on different types of creature legs, making its way through like a mobile neighborhood. Let's call it a nomadic neighborhood. And so that is the last thing we saw. 6 houses in the swamp. And a question of what to do. The houses are still moving, Paru. You kind of have to keep out of the way a little bit as these chicken legs just splatter into the mud, maybe about a few feet down. So they get in there, and then they kind of have to pull out and then push back into the mud to keep walking. So you see chicken legs. You see, let's see, it was chicken, dragon, frog. What are 3 more types of animal legs? Either a pair or 4, whatever. More than that. Preferably land animals, if you don't mind.
I would say cow.
Cow for Paru. Let's say, who has the higher perception? Paru. Who has the next highest perception? Harland. So, Beza, give me another animal feat. And Oliette, you'll get the other one.
Cat feet.
Cat. I love it. Okay. Oliette, what's another type of animal feat?
Giraffe.
Oh my god, perfect. Okay. Very tall house. Now, I will say the dragon is 2 feet, the chicken is 2 feet, everything else appears to be on 4. And they're all just kind of lumbering around, following the chicken hut.
They're obviously following the chicken hut.
They're all moving in sort of a herd. It's almost like it's a herd.
Okay.
In terms
So
of
the one
movement,
with the
they're in like
chicken legs is in the front?
the chicken huts were moving in the front, but it's more like not a V, but like a little blob of them, and they're all just kind of shifting. They're not following it. They're all shifting together in a group.
Okay.
It just happens to be at the front.
Paru is just gonna launch herself toward the chicken hut and just try to get up to the door to knock.
Okay, so the chicken feet are probably about 10 feet high.
Aye.
And then you get to the top of the house.
Aye.
So, you're gonna try to climb up a chicken foot?
I'm gonna cast Longstrider and jump.
Okay. Awesome. So, you cast Longstrider on yourself and you do a running leap, I assume?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Give me an athletics check, because you're in a lot of swampy mud right now that is about 3 feet deep.
God.
Or 2 feet deep. 2 feet deep.
So I'm like barely sticking out over the top of it.
So give me an athletics check to try to go into a run to jump out of this mud.
Base is made out of stone. She doesn't sink.
17
7?
plus 3 is a dirty 20.
Okay. All right. I mean, Paro, you're moving so fast trying to get to this thing. You're like walking on top of the mud. The mud hasn't even. You're light enough that it doesn't even. It's gonna take a bit for you to start sinking. So yeah, and you leap onto the porch, onto the back porch of this house. There's no door there. You're on the back porch of the house.
Don't care. Knock.
You're knocking on the wall?
Can I get around to the front porch?
You have to start kind of shimmying around like
great,
it's
great.
like you're like ninja warrioring it.
Yes,
Ninja warrioring it. That's that's how it is. That's how
Nicosta warrioring it.
That's nothing. That's too
No,
many
I don't
consonants
care.
that don't make sense. Okay. We will get back to your attempt to scramble around. Oliette, the moment you see mud, I have a suspicion I know how you react.
I've already taken to the air. I'm like 2 feet above. I'm not getting my... Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I can see
How
that.
hard it is to get mud out of fishnets?
You have prestidigitation, don't you?
I don't know. Harlan does, but I don't.
Well, there
you
you
would
go.
think.
Your boyfriend's not going to clear out the swamp for you as you walk.
Listen.
You're a simple
I don't know what
woman
we're
with
doing then.
simple needs. You just need someone to be, perpetually putting coats on the ground so you can fly over them and not touch them.
Yeah.
A fresh coat each time, please. So, I believe Villain and the kittens came.
Mm-hmm.
So, I will say probably that Toshi hopped up on Villain's... No, actually, Nickit hopped up on Villain's back when the mud showed up, and Toshi is kicking through the mud, because why not? Harland, you are tall enough that this is not a problem. And you're used to mud. This is absolutely not a problem. You notice as Paru makes a leap towards the house that you sort of watch her move, and when she leaps up, her shadow was like following her up. And when she leaps up, her shadow, or at least what you thought was her shadow, starts running underneath the house. Like it completely disconnected from her. And this little shadow, like, hits the chicken leg and starts up the chicken leg, while Paru is just shimmying across the porch, trying to get up into this cottage.
Does Paru look like she is in any pain of any sort? Like
She's
like,
shimmying. She's fine. She's just fucking
Alright.
excited.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if he'd. I don't know how he'd know how to process that.
You see.
It's a ghost.
You see the shadow continue up the chicken leg, slide down a little bit, and continue back up the chicken leg, and then start hanging from the bottom of the house. Like, you realize it's not Paru shaped, it's just tiny humanoid shaped, and is going, trying to swing under the house, trying to get up to the porch.
Is it like a Peter Pan shadow, or it's like a two-dimensional thing, or is it?
It's
like...
a little more 3D than that. It's more of a blur. It's
Okay.
more of a Heartless than a Peter Pan shadow.
Cool. Huh. I think he'd pay attention to whether or not the next person who got on the porch's shadow would depart from them.
Okay.
Because, like...
Well, there's a good question.
If it's just goofing off and playing around, I don't know that he'd like, okay, that just seems... Okay, I guess it works differently here.
That tracks.
So who's going to try to... Is anyone going to try to get on the porch?
I feel like Oliette is trying to pull Beza out of the mud.
I was gonna say,
Basic, give me an athletics check. Try to pull yourself out. If Oliette's helping, I'll say you can roll with advantage, even though you're both freaking terrible at that.
Well, here's the thing, though. I'm made of stone.
Correct.
And we're in soft mud.
You're gonna sink no matter what.
Yeah.
It's not soft mud. It actually takes a bit of effort to get like into the mud, which is why Paru could.
Sticky mud.
18.
18.
Oh, wait, do I have advantage?
You did have advantage because Oliette was helping, which is questionable judgment on my part.
The 18 was better.
Okay, that makes sense. Oliette starts helping and it's actually worse. It's like, no, it's fine. I can do it. So basically, what I'm saying is you're not getting yourself out of the mud. You are traveling through it. You're not.
Got it.
You're
So
moving.
you
You're moving enough that like you're pushing through the mud.
You just see Bezos like sinking into the mud and walking across. I can't drop my chair any further.
It's fine. You don't have to commit like Kyle committed last time. It was distracting.
This is my
fine.
commitment level.
No, it's great. It's great.
About the size we normally are in real life.
That's true.
Uh-huh. So, Oliet, you're, you... my god, I think we're gonna end up with a lot of people in the, a lot more people are gonna be in this encounter than I was expecting. Thank you, guys.
Pretty. Good God. I just saw the alerts.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, I love that. Okay. Cool. All right. So, you are, Paru, you're shimmying across the house. And, you're not trying to be stealthy. You want to be noticed.
I am like, hello. I am here. You called for me. I'm here. I came.
Okay. Paru, you feel a lurching as the house just goes... and it, like, lurches forward and then backward. I need you to give me a dex save. Or no, strength save. Sorry, strength save. As you hold on.
That's a 22.
The house starts spinning around, like, turning. And you're like, whoa, God. You like hook into the railing of the porch, and the house starts turning and towards your friends. You all are face to face with the very dimly lit windows at the front of this cottage, and these chicken legs just kind of start heading towards you.
Is it speeding up?
No. It's
Okay.
casually walking. Like a chicken walker.
I mean, do y'all want me to give a shout and let someone know we're here? There doesn't seem to be any sort of hut bell.
You start hearing more of those footfalls filling the air around you. Glance behind, you see another one of the houses with the cow feet trudging through behind you. Another one kind of curving around, flank. Do you do anything, or you just kind of let them start congregating around you?
So we're basically being surrounded.
You're being surrounded.
The Baba Congo line.
Well, I mean, we came here to meet someone, and I guess someone is here to meet us.
Juliet is kind of almost like wringing her hands a little bit anxiously, not realizing that she's doing it, but is just watching with significant trepidation and awe. This is pretty wild.
You see, a little bit close to your bottom peripheral vision, you see Toshi's head as Verlaine has, like, taken a step near you while all this is happening, and Toshi's just, like, kind of, sort of, like, at your ankles or your knees. There's so many of them. He's just confused. Oh no, sorry, Nicket was on was on Verlaine's shoulders. So you see Nicket at your knee height. Are we running?
No.
Okay.
We are gonna do our best to be polite and make a good impression.
Okay. Eventually. Paru, do you do anything as everything's moving, or are you continuing to shift to the front?
I am continuing to shift to the front.
Okay.
But if it looks like it's going to get like dangerous for my friends, I will go right back down there and protect them.
It just looks like it's moving. You see definitely from the height you're at and like your vantage point, you see all of the other 5 houses converging on your friend's location. And the chicken hut sort of stops maybe 15, 20 feet away from you, towering up. This thing's probably 2 stories. Covered in moss and vines and like detritus, just swamp, just covered in swamp. Rotted wood. You see in some spots there are, peeking through some of the porch railing that Paru is trying to climb is twisted and covered in roots and vines and lichen, and even in some of the twisting vines you almost think you can see the remnants of like corpses, like animal parts, and maybe a skull here and there, like something got like grasped against the house. As the other houses start closing in, the chicken hut kneels. Paru, it starts leaning forward. And hits the mud. There's a big splatter of mud at all of you as this, 2-story house splashes in. You're in the splash zone.
Just Paru was laughing the entire way down. Probably as she gets splattered with mud, or she's just like cackling with glee.
Paru, you hear some gurgling behind you on the ground. And popping up out of the ground, there is this little shadowy figure. It's like, and like shakes out, and there's just mud that goes everywhere as this very tiny little shadow creature just kind of shakes off the mud.
Okay.
That was terrible.
What was? Wait.
Oh no, where? And, dipping into the mud, this little shadow creature pulls out a box. Oh no. Shaking out mud from this little box that has some holes in it and a little gear on it, and just... Oh no.
Oh, can I fix it?
Okay.
She'll look at it.
Like, this little shadow is just, like, pouting so hard.
Oh no. Oh, shadow baby. She's gonna look inside the box and see if she can...
You can... Yeah, sure, you can open it. It's a music box.
Okay. She's gonna druidcraft some, like... does it look just, like, gummed up with the mud and stuff?
Yeah, there's some bugs in it, there's mud,
She's gonna gently shake out the bugs and then druidcraft some puffs of air to blow the mud out, kind of like a, like the little desk air in a jar cans, just get all of that it out, and then hand it back.
Yeah,
that might work.
Maybe. Let me check. How you doing? It'll dry out.
Sorry.
And they put the box in their chest, and it disappears into the shadow.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
And kind of looks at your hand. Marzipan.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. So you're trying to get into the chicken house too? Okay, me too.
Do we just knock, or do
I don't know.
they just... Okay.
And as this is happening, the rest of you watch as each, one by one, the houses kneel and sink into the mud. The one in front of you with the chicken legs, then one behind you, to the side, to the side, to the side, to the side. And you are surrounded by a ring of houses, all facing inward at you.
Other houses have the same kind of overgrown
A little
vibe
bit.
about them?
A little bit. But they
Okay.
have other affectations to them.
Okay.
One of them, covered in bones. Not like the first one. Just skeletons and antlers, and one of them is covered in I'm going to content warning real quick that there's going to be a little bit of grody body horror, just a little. Just warning everybody if you get a little grossed out. Oh, see, Mitch, that's what I wanted to call the session, the cul-de-sac of doom.
Get gross.
Yeah. One of the houses is covered in faces. Like skin. Like faces. Stitched together. Just
That's horrifying and amazing.
one of them looks like, not that it was overgrown by the swamp vines, but that it was in the swamp. There's mud actively dripping down from all of the windows. There's all of this, like, seaweed and muck dangling from everything. There's dead fish on the porch, like it just surfaced from the water, and there's just, like, dice everywhere. It's just me dropping my dice for, like, the 15th time this week. One of them has writing, runes, wards, all etched, burned into the wood. And one of them has what's the other one? Well, this is easy. The other one has handprints all over it. Mud and shadow, and some of them pressed in. Some of them might be blood. Some of them might just be mud. It's hard to really tell, but there's big ones, and scrapes and scratches and hands and like haunted house Universal Studios, like scraping like someone got dragged across the house surface. So there is a deathly quiet
I don't like that phrasing.
as the house. I mean, I already said there was a face house.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we
Deathly quiet's
we're here
easily.
now.
Deathly quiet is like the least concerning thing I said.
Seems like we're in a Nicolas Cage.
I didn't say there were bees. So and y'all just kind of wait for a moment. It's hard to sort of process what you're looking at. More to the point, what do you do now?
Mentally to everyone. Did we look into whether these queens are nice or not? Cause, I'm a little concerned.
Do we hear that? Does the book work here?
Yeah, you hear it.
Okay.
Beza, you hear a voice in response. You all hear a voice in response. One should always research before one engages in a new visit.
Oh shit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend anyone.
And you hear the creaking of doors. Multiple.
Haru is like bouncing
Where are you right now?
as close to the one that was covered that she could estimate was kind of the approximation of the Queen of the Vine. But the one with the most vines on it, she's like
Are you
Oh,
on the
chicken
porch?
feet.
Where are you? You walk up to
I'm
the front
probably just
door. What
off
do you do?
the porch right by the front door.
Well, that's good, because the door bursts open. And as the door bursts open, vines start just emerging out of the thing, like poison ivy on speed.
Hot.
I was gonna say, these vines just kind of, some of them are fresh-ish, like they're moist. And they start just like rolling out of the door frame and start latching onto things. And I'm all full of movie references tonight. It's very much like what's his face from Fern Gully, the
Nexus.
Nexus. Hexus?
Yeah.
Hexus, yeah, but not with the Tim Curry hot, just the gross part. Just like kind of slopping on the porch, and all of these vines start rolling down the stairs and clinging into the mud, and you watch as some element of a seat starts growing onto the porch. And through the vines, you start seeing a figure kind of sliding out into a seated position. You see a sort of, how to describe this, a bovine face, but old and almost rotted, lumpy, I guess. Skin hanging off of bones, hair stringy and braided, white, maybe mouse gray. There's a sort of tapestry of wilted plant life over this hunched form as this figure takes a seat on the chair that has formed on the porch. It sort of watches you through haunted, glowing green eyes. And when I say bovine-like, I mean like it almost looks like the face is kind of caved in on itself. It's not. This is not a comforting face.
Aru actually curtsies. Hello, it's nice to finally meet you.
Meet me. That is what you wish.
Well, yes.
Who is it do you think you are meeting? Exactly.
One of the Baba Yagas who created the Nakosta of what I am.
One of the Baba Yagas.
The
Come here.
I've heard.
Come here. Come here.
She goes. He does.
And you scurry forward.
She immediately does. Yeah, she's not.
This is
going to
fairly.
disagree.
She's not 10 feet tall, but still, bigger than you, towering over you a bit. And she kind of motions with these. Well, the skin looks like rotted tree. And she reaches forward with these really crooked fingers and lifts your chin to meet her decaying face. You get near and everything. I mean, for anyone else, I would say, this is horrifying. She smells like rot and it's a mix of rot and petrichor and fungus. these are smells that Paru is fine with. So this is not a problem for you. It does not smell like Her Majesty of the Vine, who's more of like, you know, the petrichor is still there, but it's more like water, like the forest after a rainstorm, rather than this is a swamp after a flood, and a hot summer day. And she looks at you. I see it now. Little Sprout. Hello.
No.
And she kind of drags one of her claws over your, like, under your chin a little bit, as she's kind of like, it would be a gentle motherly gesture if it weren't from that hand. Paru's just completely not worrying about it right now. She's just so
Paru
fucking
is
over
so
the
happy
moon
right
here.
now. Paru is pretty much almost rendered speechless at this point. She's just so happy.
And as this little reunion is happening, of sorts, you hear the other doors creaking open. From one of them, water and mud and gunk just pours out of the front door like it has literally been sunken under the water. And the slick just like washes into the mud, and there's more dead fish and seaweed and all sorts of stuff. You hear that. Some of you turn. Oliette, you notice that even though Nickit has sort of turned to look, Verlaine has not turned. And has gotten very stiff, and
I just instinctively grab their hand.
you feel just a death grip on your hand. Not like more than you can handle, but definitely like very tense. And you can see that Verlaine's breathing a little short. Like trying, like someone trying not to throw up, like that kind of, like trying to calm themselves. And as the water splashes, this seaweed gunk fish corpse blob thing just washes out with the water and settles on the porch. And the water splashing, you see a form just kind of like almost slithering its way through the water like an eel, and pushing through the muck, sitting up on their throne, you see a feminine figure covered in seaweed and moss and gunk, their face covered by a veil of this kelp and seaweed, as they're sort of just kind of sink into the mud. They're not all yours, Yaga. And the minotaur... Oh, I forgot to mention, minotaur horns. But they're like kind of slumped and rotting. And neither are they yours, Kevi. And she, ignore the picture I'm sending to the players. Ignore the face, because that's not what it is. It's not what it is. This is the face that you see.
That is terrifying, Angela.
Oh, like I
don't know what to do.
I haven't been planning this for a long time. I'm
help me.
excited. Sorry, I should have prefaced this whole thing that this was going to be kind of a creep fest today.
Chat, I'm going to ask you now. I am perfectly happy posting these picture links if you want them.
Put
If no
content
one
warning.
wants-
Just say there's a
Yeah.
content warning for any picture coming up over the next few minutes.
Yeah.
Don't click on them if you don't want to see like hags. Basically, they're a little creepy. There's some. There's a little body horror, but not like a ton. But there still is. So if you have issues, if you had an issue with the face house, maybe don't click this. Right.
That was an involuntary shiver.
I know, that gave me a shiver, the face one.
Yeah.
In a good way.
The next one that comes out with a crash, you see the bone and antler house. The door, this one has 2 doors, and they burst open, and lurching under the door frame, far taller than the door frame, you see this huge, slender, hunched over figure with a long neck under a hood, and the face is half covered on the top with like bronze and like tarnished metal. And this giantess figure just takes a very sort of heavy step, and the stairs creak under her weight, and she just plops down onto the stairs with this broom-like weapon in her hand that are more like, it's more of a trident or a quadrant made of rough stick. Got a little bit of a... Again, I keep doing this, so here's the next... You're going to find all about where my mental references are. Very much like the finale of the Lost in Space movie with Dr. Smith. When Gary Oldman turns into that, like, bug thing. That kind of, like, long-necked, very big. And, she sits. There's bones and other sort of totem-like objects just draped off of the hood. She kind of jangles with the clinking of bone and lunges and lurches under the door and sits. Doesn't make any sort of awareness, no familiarity in any of the faces of these people. The next door opens and you see the house with faces opens. Delicately, there's a fog that kind of fills, and slipping through this fog, you see a slow, sort of demure figure with a veil and a mask. You only see her eyes. And just very quietly, very subtly, takes a seat on the side of their steps. Just sort of leaning against the railing, quiet. Doesn't say anything, just sort of watches. This is the face house. Show you that one.
Time as they're all kind of slowly making their way out, and we hear them talking to one another, at least 2 of them.
Yes.
I want to grab Harlan's hand and then pull both Harlan and Villain in a bit closer and step back and link their hands together and lean over to Harlan and whisper, the water, quickly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't, Villain doesn't even think about it, immediately takes Harlan's hand as you transition them together. Is not even, at this point, doesn't even care whose hand he's holding.
So, I'm going to go ahead and cast water breathing, and it's 10 willing creatures that you can see within range. But I think Harlan is trying to be as, like...
I was going to say, like, you aren't a
low
swamp.
key low-key as possible. Like, really, like, not wanting to make it apparent that he's casting a spell.
Sure.
So we're going to spend some sorcery points to do careful casting. So it doesn't require any somatic components.
Great.
Or I think verbal components either. Let me double check that. Subtle spell. 1 sorcery point to cast it without any somatic or verbal components.
Awesome. So yeah. You casting it to everybody?
Yeah, all my allies.
Okay. Everybody in the group.
And the little shadow person too. Why not?
Okay. Marzipan gets to breathe underwater since obviously had some trouble with the mud. You see as the handprint house creaks open with the sound of like cicadas or like a rattlesnake tail, and kind of lurching in. Actually, I need this to, excuse me, I need this to be way creepier. Hold on. Soft mysterious tends to lean towards soft because I don't want it to get too creepy. This need to get creepy. So, anyway, with that cicada rattlesnake sound, you see a sort of like, again, hunched over, but you hear bells clinking against each other as a staff is leaned on, resting forward with these broken bells clanging on each other. And you see this woman with what looks almost like a pot on her head, like a hat, but there are these masks, these like almost China doll, these broken China doll masks sort of resting on the pot, and there's like a face painted into the pot. And she's got this long braids draping to the floor, draping down where the dress, this tatters of a dress, drag along. And she has these there's bells all over her. There are these baskets attached at her waist, and there's just this pile of fish in one side, and on the other side there's like flies buzzing on rotted bread in the other side. And she just kind of like, she's almost so low to the ground, she's kind of four-legging it. Like, and when she drops to her seat on the porch, you see at the top of her staff there's like what looks maybe like incense smoke coming off, and she pulls from her from somewhere within the tattered folds of her dress this bowl, and you see green gas sort of starts swirling in this, and you watch, and they almost take on like a snake look to them. I am just like pushing all of Chris's buttons today.
Oh my god. It's over.
Not quite. There's
Oh
one
my
more.
god, that's amazing. Holy crap.
There's one more.
Boom.
The house with
There's more.
the house with the runes all over it. That door, the doorknob turns. And when it opens, you see a figure standing full upright in black robes with some suns and moons, sort of old stitching, embroidery along the edges of this, and with long, overgrown, talon-sharp toenails and fingernails, some rings on these very long fingers. You see long, slender ears poke out from the sides of the hood, and long earrings that drape all the way down to her waist. These like beaded earrings. And a pale, gaunt, almost skeletal elven face. painted along the throat, or not painted. She's wearing a very high collar shirt or tunic, and the collar is sort of one of those. It doesn't have a flap collar. It's like a high collar. There are like straps holding the collar shut, and from the angle when she first appears and the way that her mouth is painted as well, the throat almost looks like a skeleton spine with like black fabric, white edging. And she has sunken black eyes, still very calm, and of any of them, easily the most, what I would argue, the most regal looking of them. She takes a... I can't with Chris's reactions. She reaches over to her porch and pulls out a simple chair. Drags it across the porch, puts it on the ground, right at the top of the stairs, and sits. This whole time, Paru, you're being murmured to by the Baba Yaga. She's sort of in this creepy-ass grandmother sort of doting on you kind of way.
But she's so happy.
She leans down and she says, Have you brought your gift with you? The one we share.
Yes! And she pulls out her tea set.
Very good, very good. And she holds out these gnarled fingers. And she takes the teapot from you. My children bring me such good gifts, do they not? Kind of shouting out to the others. There's a little bit of rumbling from them. Like, some eye rolls. You choose to have your brethren spread across like dandelion seeds. That is your choice. It is not it's not a wise one. It is merely a choice. That was the... we'll say that was the trade. That was the C one. Baba Gevi. I will name all of them here.
Thank you. A note taker appreciates that.
I will put them on the pictures in the chat when I get to them, like when I name them. And you see that the giantess sort of rumbling deep from somewhere in her throat. They hunt us from afar. They come with a purpose. That was purpose, not porpoise.
Thank you for clarifying.
You're
in advance.
welcome. Just wanted to make sure everybody knew that I knew what she said. I'm going to save myself a lot of trouble here. I'm going to have a conversation as them, and I'm not going to say who's saying what in the moment, because there's too many of them and they all kind of sound the same. So it doesn't really matter who's saying what in the moment. So just don't worry about that.
We'll just say who we're addressing.
At this point, you're surrounded by these fae creatures, and they're just all sort of talking around. Occasionally you even feel like maybe you're hearing them in your head, like the book. There's just so many voices happening right now, and they're all having conversations, and you don't know what half of them are talking about at a certain point, because they're all like sort of very cryptic and decrepit and that sort of thing. So, this is basically what happens. the Baba Yaga kind of sort of bucks up a little bit at Baba Gevi, the sea hag, I guess. You are merely jealous that I have such dedicated and loyal children coming to visit me all these years, bringing me gifts. And they're not Her Majesty's. I'm really having trouble with that, like trying to code switch a little bit here, like trying to figure out which one's which and who's talking what. The snake, the one with the incense, is just like swirling with her fingers in the smoke. Are they staying for tea?
Well, yeah, if you're inviting us.
Ah, and what have you brought to share?
Oh, I got lots of stuff. I got lots of stories I can tell. I've got these little. He bends down and like sets his backpack on the mud, just like absent-mindedly almost, as it starts to like slowly sink. Like I got you might like this, and he fishes out. So back when they were on the train leaving the chronogram, they found that metal Modron finger inside one of the pieces of furniture.
Sure.
It's like you might enjoy this. It's a little leftover bit from somebody.
I'm to eat that.
Well, no, you don't eat it. You'd be like,
Did
necklace.
you bring something for tea?
Yeah. We got what we got?
The giantess kind of booms a little bit. Trust the mortals, the ones that hunt us. They follow us. What do they want? And the snake charming one. Well, clearly they wish for our hospitality, though they have not asked for it yet.
Sorry, Chris, you were going to say something.
I think Chris is just having a conniption fit.
Okay.
She's just dying.
She's just literally standing behind Valaine and Harland, just like trying to soak this in and like trying to connect these dots.
The water witch. I just keep coming up with names until one sticks. Baba Gevi says, why does anyone ever come to us? They wish to trade. They wish to find whatever their hearts desire. Always the same.
No, because I technically just found it. She smiles up at the Baba Yaga.
Simple creatures with simple needs. Not a problem. More than happy to accommodate, yeah. Ugh. I hate her. Anyway. It's fine.
I love her.
The Harland, the snake charmer. I don't have a name for them yet. Rather, I do have a name for them. She says, and what is your name, handsome boy? She kind of peers a little bit from under the pot, and you see these slitted, milky white snake eyes.
My name is Harlan Firebranch at your service.
Firebranch. That conjures quite a delightful image.
Well, my daddy said that it used to be Fire Stick, but they needed to seem more proper, so they changed it. He may have been joking, I now realize.
Well, please come closer. Your Baba Dishe would like to meet you.
Baba Dishe. Like what
And-
open mic does on Saturdays.
No, the Modrons do that. They fight over who gets to do the Baba Dishes. Anyway,
Harlan steps forward.
and the snake-like figure, she, you get a whiff of this smoke that's happening around her, and it, at first, smells like acid burning, like hydrochloric, like it's unpleasant. Your nostrils singe a bit at it. You almost feel your beard singeing a bit at it. And then all of a sudden, in a whiff of unexpected sweetness, you get cinnamon and vanilla and like birthday cake. Like it's
Like all the flavors
intoxicating.
of vodka you don't want to drink.
It's intoxicating. And she keeps kind of beckoning you closer. And she just sort of watches you up and down a little bit. You said you had stories.
Yeah, I got a few of them.
I would hear them, please. And she pats the step for you to sit with her.
Well, it all kind of started when we was sent to reclamation center when we was real little, and
As
then-
you're talking, she's just going, and she's just kind of straightening out your clothes a little bit for you and like cleaning up your hair. She's grooming you. It's pretty gross. And you're talking, and everyone's like, "Oh God, don't sit," and he sits. And one of the voices you haven't heard yet speaks up with a bit of authority to her from her very proper seat. There is only one story I wish to hear. Why are you here? And what do you want?
I was gonna get to that. There's kind of a long tail on that kite.
Leave him alone, Soli. He wants to tell me a nice story.
I mean, if y'all want to hear it, I can say it to everybody.
Dishe, you may eat the boy later. We wish to know why they are here.
No, thank you. I've already been claimed.
Oh. Why did my brain just assume that Villain and Olia both went, what? At the same time?
Literally shaken out of this reverie, like, oh my god, that's. Oh, no, wait, I'm
Not in front of
forgot
my sort of mom. Oh my god.
No shame.
So, Baba Soli, the elven Dia de los Muertos elf, sits very calmly, very expectantly, a little cold. Is there no one to tell the tale?
Harlan trails off and kind of like looks around.
Well, yeah, I think that's your cue.
Sorry, Heather, I didn't mean to trample on you.
Oh yeah. As soon as Harlan steps forward, is still there's this like moment where, like, clutching Villain's hand, feeling 12 again, like cornered in that spider cave. This is the exact same feeling, and she is struck like she is back in that sheepish, like tiny version of herself, but
You hear
as as she says that,
You
go
hear
ahead.
Verlaine in your head, too. Because he's not really able to talk right now. He's just working on his breathing. Go on. That's why we came. You can do it.
You got this.
Okay. She'll just kind of inch forward a little bit, still hovering slightly above the level of the mud. We came because we're sent to seek an audience. We need guidance.
Guidance.
I know you don't. Well, perhaps you don't know who I am. But in a way, we are quite close.
Those black eyes, you catch a little bit of the light in them, and she's clearly like looking down and up at you, taking measure. There is not much here that I do not know, and I do not know you, child. Of what do you speak? Riddles to a fae is, well, quite a bold direction.
Top.
One more time?
I was taught by the best, almost. Leah will, with shaking hands, reach into her bag and pull out the book.
When you pull that book out, every single one of them sort of marks you. They all turn. Some of them, like the giantess kind of straightens up, has her weapon on her lap now. The snake charmer looks around. Baba Dishe looks kind of like around Harland. Even Baba Yaga is just kind of doting on Paru. Her eyes shoot up at Oliette. The water witch, Baba Gevi, has venom in her voice. They bring him here.
He's been let loose, and we seek to destroy him, but we don't know how.
You bring his works. Why?
Well, there's some people in there that really don't like him. If I am assuming who the him is,
People
probably.
in the book. This is the elf.
We've been inside it. We fell into it as children.
It's a portal to a shadow of this place. And you sent us here.
We sent you here?
The
From-
versions of you in the book.
You hear the huntress giant. They are creations of his machinations. We do not trust them. And the water witch, Gevi. I keep not doing a good job of remembering their names or saying them out loud first because I'm afraid you guys have no reason to know them yet really well. Gevi continues with that same tone that the giantess has and says, have we not suffered enough? Have we not fought enough that to bring him to the middle of our court? I could drown them where they stand.
Could. But if you did, we would run out of options. This is... just want to destroy him. We don't know how.
You wish to destroy him. Mortals. Children.
I've been called worse.
The beast you seek to fell is... And Baba Yaga chirps in. He did not best us. Far from it. And a clawed hand from Baba Soli goes up. Still too close for my comfort, Yaga.
One of your counterparts in the book helped him escape. We are trying to fix that misdeed. Each of you in the book took one of us under your wing as a champion. Taught us.
Mortals. Mortals as our champions. This is a farce. Solely you entertain sedition.
To be fair, the book versions of you don't have a lot of choices.
Solely says, choice. As in agency. As in predestination.
I think the opposite of that.
They overthrew him, and they thought they destroyed him. Most of them thought they destroyed him. And then they found out he wasn't destroyed, and they trained us to try to fight him.
Shadows of our power.
I was trained by the Queen of the Vine.
I was raised by the Queen of the Hunt.
You hear the giant. Gotta love my vocal range. Anyway, Baba Soli looks down to you, Oliette, and says, counterparts, fictions, made by his hand, no doubt.
Yes, but there is enough of, I believe, you in these counterparts that realized that he is grotesque, and they sought to see him fall just as I assume you did. But they know that they are only shadows. And they sent us to the source because they knew that they could not do it themselves.
You hear this low, awful, guttural laugh under the breath of Baba Gevi as she's sort of in the muck of her, like, high tide or low tide throne. He wrote us into his stories, and we still tried to kill him.
I mean, successfully killed him.
Oh, what a colossal, monstrous fool he is.
Not to mention a pain in the ass asshole.
And Baba Soli looks over to Baba Gevi and says, well, looks to Baba Gevi and says to all of you, betrayer. You said betrayer.
Yes.
Which? You get another laugh from Baba Dishe at the word witch.
She smites us if we say.
She does that to you, Harlan. You
Don't wish
hear in only your head, Oliet.
No. No.
Soli's voice. Tell me.
I don't know if the channel is open or closed, but in the same manner I will attempt to reply.
Okay.
Queen of the Trade.
She looks to Gevi. You and Gevi. And there is a big raucous laughter from every single one of them. And Soli goes, my dear, Gevi was the first. She brought us together. She was the one who wished his demise. He wrote, why? Why did she betray us in this storybook of yours?
The one who loved him most and first.
You hear a coughing.
Blaine!
No, sorry. You look to Blaine. He's totally fine. He's trying to breathe. You hear a coughing laugh from Gevi. And then and just this gross muck of, like, sea spit onto the steps. I would gut him like a fish again if I could. For that.
I might be saying something that's gonna get me in some hot water, but it might be just a irony.
Or wishful thinking.
Oh, good. That pun did not get me in hot water. Good.
It is not yet time for tea, my dear.
I'm gonna die.
He might.
Did you say you might?
I said he might.
Huh?
Oh, okay.
I thought we was on the stoop, not on the steep.
God damn it. Now we're all gonna
She
die.
pats the side of your face kind of hard. I like you.
Well, he was your champion.
Really? Oh, I can see that. Tell me, was she as pretty as I am?
I mean, no one is pretty quite like you are.
Not true. No one was as pretty as Zasha. And you hear Soli go, "Enough, Disha." What? It's true? She was. And Soli looks to the face house and the quiet, demure queen in the corner with the mask. So what were our roles in this queendom? I am curious as to what he thought of all of us.
Oliette might know more of the stories, but my understanding of the short version is that he kept making new worlds with a different queen each time, trying to get it right and make himself happy, but he wasn't happy with any of them, so he kept destroying everything and remaking everything, and eventually all of your book versions basically said, "This is stupid, we hate this guy," and turned around and tried to kill him.
He could not. And there's like this little cracking you hear as like Soli's jaw tightens a bit angrily. He is pride. He is
I don't know what words you're thinking, but I probably agree with every single one of them.
They each speak up in turn. Pride, yes, pride. Lasciviousness. Foolishness. Hunger. Wrath. Baba Zasha doesn't speak. Soli continues looking at Oliette and down at the book. Second-hand accounts pale in comparison. I would see what he has written of us, perhaps what we have written of ourselves. May I? She offers a hand outstretched to you, Oliette, waiting, seated patiently on the chair.
We'll make her way up to that particular porch. And very slowly, like not breaking eye contact, not sure, start to hand over the book.
There's like no expression as she waits with her hand. Just
Will unlock my white-knuckled hands and let the book go.
and she takes it very slowly, starts turning it over in her hand. like she's scanning every square inch of it, looking at the spine. Her finger, long nails, but her thumb, very gently tracing the edges of the pages. Like she's appraising it. And then she puts it on her lap and she opens it. And starts leafing through the pages.
Still blank.
You watch as words and pictures start seeping through the pages like watercolor, filling the story. The parts you know. The parts you lived. Eventually, she gets to a part where you start seeing your correspondence. And she flips through it. Gets to a blank page. And with a long nail, blackened and rotting, she reaches her finger down to touch the page and starts gently writing. Sorry, I know this music kind of crescendos. She starts gently writing with her finger in the page. And her hand just kind of caresses the page for a moment after she writes. You're opposite her, so you can't really read what she's written. And then you see some words in your lady's hand. Just sort of gently appear as if she's writing it in real time. And Baba Soli sits there, reading everything as each word comes through. It takes a little bit as line is filled, and then the next line is filled, and then almost a little faster, and then eventually a whole page. And she starts turning the pages slowly, and every page is getting full of Her Majesty of the Word's handwriting. Every single page. 5, 10, 15. You lose count of how often she's turning. And eventually the pages just start turning. More filling, more words filling.
Olia's eyes are just like brimming with tears at this point.
And eventually, you watch as Baba Soli's hand reaches for the bottom of the book and shuts it. And her hand just sort of bracing on the cover. And her black eyes slowly lift to yours. And there's this little thing that wasn't there before. This little tiny hint of familiarity. A little smirk. Perhaps you are more impressive than I give you credit for.
Damn right.
And for the first time, you see Baba Soli smile. It's a little intense, but it seems genuine. How does the young storyteller find reality versus fiction? doubt
At this
it.
point, the
Yeah.
tears are just like streaming down her face.
And Baba slowly reaches out with a hand and very gently wipes some of the tears away from one side. And she just kind of... There's a nail. It's a little gross. The one thumbnail, kind of like as she's kind of pulling away. She is not gone. But you are astute. There is more to us in them than even I thought he capable of. I do not know whether to be relieved or concerned by this. You seek the archive.
Yes.
It is where he learned his trade. Where he came from. It is a place where all is recorded. Not merely stories, not merely facts and permutations and ledgers. It is a place where souls are written, where worlds are written. He, however, he rose from nothing, from ash, climbed and clawed his way through the archive, learned what he could, insatiable. It is what first drew me to him. Until it became clear what he wanted was power. Our power. All power. One by one, he sought us out. Plying us with kind words and gifts, and pledges of fealty. Until one by one, it became clear of his intention, his hunger. We cast him out of Fae, never to return here. It seems he found a way to circumvent the letter of the law, though not the spirit of it. Each of you, chosen by one of us, in a kind. And Aaliyah, you watch as Soli's eyes slowly trail to Gevi. breaking the spirits of those who most fervently opposed him for his deeds. And then he looks to Zasha, quiet in the back. At this point, not even looking at any of you, just kind of trailing at the ground, mocking those he sundered.
I may, if it's not off base, I have a gift that I'd like to give Baba Zasha, if that's all right.
Disha kind of pouts a little. No gifts for me.
Well, I got lots of stories for you. I'll be back. I think this one's much more tailored to her.
Very well. Don't be long.
Okay.
Sure. Get
For
up.
the first time, Harlan realizes that he might be in danger.
I've made a terrible mistake. So what do you do, Harland?
Harlan hops off of Disha's lap, and
I mean, that's definitely where you ended up at some point. Sure.
you said it like.
Oh, she patted the stairs.
Oh.
Nope, you sat on her lap.
okay.
That's now canon.
Okay. Well, okay, cool. Great. I just did that. All right, good.
Yeah, you did.
Good job.
Or you
so
sat
yeah-
on the stairs. You sat on the stairs. All this happened, and when someone looked back, you're somehow on her lap. Like you don't know how she
that's
lured you up there, but you happened to end up.
It's like the continuity editor just forgot.
Or things escalated uncomfortably.
Just, yeah. So yeah, Harlan will hop down and
Baba Santa.
kind of.
Sorry.
Santa.
I'm so sorry to everyone.
I hate that song.
Yeah, I do too. It's fine. Okay, Harlan. So, what do you do?
Harlan will make his way over to Baba Zasha while still maintaining a respectful distance.
That's for the best with these ladies.
Well, she's also like displayed the body language of somebody who's like there but not comfortable to be seen.
Yeah.
Right? And so like I think Harlan's trying to apply his people skills to that. So it's he just stand at a respectful distance, but it might not be much, but it's actually something that was given to me by your counterpart in the book, and I've kept it because it seemed important and that I might need it at some point, and I think she would want you to have it.
She's staring at the ground for most of what you say. And then just ever so slowly, maybe in the middle of your words, you see that she starts looking up to you. They're unlike the other Babas. Something about Zasha is very cautious, very untrusting, fearful, even. And she kind of glances at the ground again, at your feet, and looks back up to you.
He'll take a step closer and doff his cap respectfully. We didn't get a lot of chance to interact during the time that we were there, but when I did get to visit her, she definitely made an impression on me, and she gave me this as a parting gift, and I would like you to have it. And he reaches into his cap and holds out his hand with the basically with palm up. And like basically like she would need to take it in order to, he's not going to like drop it in her hand. He wants to have the subservient position,
Sure.
basically, of like handing something to somebody.
I am going to ask you a question I shouldn't have to ask you, but my brain is bad. What are you handing her? I remember you got something. I just don't remember what it was.
It was a kiss.
Thank you. I forgot. Okay.
She blew him a kiss.
And you put it in a jar. I forgot.
I caught it and I put it in my hat. Yeah.
Oh, you put it in your hat. Okay.
I play the long game.
Yeah. And she looks down at your hand. So it is or is not in a jar? It's just in your hat.
It's not.
It's just
not.
your
It's
hand.
just-
Your hat
yeah,
is
he
being
just-
held open, or just your hand? Should I get the visual?
His hand, like he's holding his hat in his hands and
Okay.
like holding his hand out like
I got
this.
you. Okay, I got you. And she kind of tilts her head a little bit. Your emoji started floating in the screen in front of me. This little sobbing face. No, it's fine. It's totally okay. It was just perfect. And she... There's a little bit of a relaxing of her shoulders. And she reaches out a little bit. Reaches out. And her hands are also covered in gloves or wrappings almost. Are you within like touching distance, or when she reaches out, do you come closer?
When she reaches out, I think he would schlorp his way over there.
And once your hand is in distance, she almost like a nervous animal kind of just swipes into your hand and pulls back to her chest. And she looks down at her hand. Her hand closes back up and she leaves it at her chest. And she just watches you a little bit. This is when Tessa can start freaking out. You all hear, I can't, and Verlaine starts...
Haru rushes.
Harland has already cast water breathing, and Nickit leaps off of Verlaine's back, just into the mud as Verlaine goes to their knees and starts expelling water. It is seawater, swampy a little bit this time. And the Babas sort of look up because Verlaine's been completely out of, like, not engaging the whole time. And this happens.
You did this to him.
And there's just this like split second moment of like panic, and people they're just sort of watching. And and Baba Gevi, Her Majesty of the Trade, comes forward or stands up. She did this.
Mm-hmm.
Gave him the dagger and clouded Blaine's mind so we can't if they remember, this happens. And I can't stop it.
And Valaine's not, like, drowning anymore. It's just painful and unpleasant. And
Into the cave where I don't know what to call. Took them to the cave where he was kept in the stone with ink pouring from it, and let him take a ride on Valaine out and into the prime material.
a vessel.
All Valaine ever wanted to do was serve and be a good champion.
And Baba Gevi marches forward towards Valaine, and Valaine sees her doing that and scrambles back in like a panic.
Okay. I got you.
And you like hit their back, and they don't want to be near her. There's like more coughing and retching and tears going down their face that Valaine doesn't want anything to do with her. And you feel another figure near you, Paru, kneeling in the mud, and you see Zasha. You don't even know when she came up. And she reaches out with her gloved hands. Well, she starts to reach out with her gloved hands. And then she hesitates. And then with this little breath, she starts peeling the gloves off her hands. And she's covered in scars and burns and all sorts of injury markings, scar, long, some not actually healed. And she peels her other arm, and it's a similar look. There's even inky black, sort of like almost Lichtenberg, like lightning stuff. Yes, thank you, Tessa. And she reaches out with her hands and puts them on either side of Valaine's face, and she finds his eyes and holds them. And Valaine's just sort of trying to keep the water in, and finds Baba Zasha's eyes and doesn't say anything, but just sort of settles after a moment and just slowly nods to her. And she nods back. And it's too fast for you to react to, Paru. It seems like, oh god, right in the moment that this sudden jerk happens. But Baba Zasha, with her hands on either side of Valaine's face, like, pushes and, like, dunks him into the mud. And there's like this moment of like, oh god, like you don't even know what to do with that. And she, like with this other like strong, like sudden movement and power from her, pulls his head back up from the mud, and he's coughing and like shivering and like shaking, but coughing air. And And she kind of very gently, very gingerly is like wiping the mud from Villain's face. And he's coughing. God, you found the other fan group? They're just salty. And Zasha just... Oh, we have a moth. You can do it, Tessa. It's okay.
You have a net.
You have a net. Use the net. It's okay.
I'll be back.
Okay. And Zasha's just cleaning his face off, and he looks like he just got pulled out from the water. And he's breathing heavy. And his eyes are just wide. And Marzipan's walking around with a net trying to catch swamp moths. Sorry, just narrating. And Zasha's sitting there in the mud with him. And their eyes are still locked, like he's trying to get some sort of anchor or some sort of reassurance from her, and she has this, you can only see her eyes, and yet there's this serene, calm, supportive patience in those eyes. This whole time, Gevy's standing there over all of the proceedings and just fuming a little bit at the whole thing, the whole situation. And you, Evelyn's breathing. Do any of you check on him? Like, check the...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, Paro, you were closest when this happened, and you scramble up, and he's breathing heavy, but you like, get his jaw open. You look in the back of his mouth, and you don't see that mark anymore.
Seeing that things are kind of... Oh, sorry, go ahead, please.
She just goes, it's gone. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just with tears welling up in Villain's eyes, they look at Baba Zasha, and he doesn't say anything. They just meet eyes again, and she nods. And he just starts crying and leaning his head on you, Paro.
She hugs him. She hugs them very, very tightly. You're safe. I got you.
Do you know how to destroy the dagger too?
Zasha shakes her head. But, Soli speaks up again. This weapon, you speak, made...
I don't know what happened.
That's fine.
Sorry.
It's okay. Do you know of its origin? Whether it came from this book or from without?
We only know it from the book. It was something that, well, we were told Verlaine found it. And, now we know more, so we're pretty sure he wasn't, looking for it. It was maybe forced on him. But it definitely helped cement the link somehow that made him an unwilling vessel. We couldn't... I managed to cut off the gargoyle gauntlet so that his hand was his own, again, sort of. Sorry. But I couldn't figure out how to destroy the dagger.
Where is it?
Which one?
The dagger.
I mean, it's here. Safe as I could make it.
You hear another sort of like growling chuff from Baba Tifu, the giantess.
Yes, I know. I would have destroyed it if I could have. I literally tried everything I could.
Would rather it with us than somewhere where someone else could get a hold of it and bring him to who knows where.
We didn't want to risk him getting another vessel. At least, I mean, we don't know if he can do it any other way, but we didn't want to risk it with this.
It may be what is luring them to you, Tifu says, and solely raises a hand and says, "We do not know of anything at this juncture, Tifu."
Your grumbles are a lot like my mom's.
Solely has a little smirk on her face.
That means our Tuscandale is here somewhere too, Beza?
I don't know. That's a good idea. But, I mean, what would Dad look like here?
Sorry. Every
We're in
time.
the Feywild.
Every time. Baba Soli looks out at you, Beza. I am uncertain if anything beyond your queens has a facsimile in the material world. It is no small task to create life, but with the constraint of the demi-plane of your tome, of your world within the book, it is not so outlandish. The true challenge, his manifesto, seems to have been the six of us. Whether for true purpose or out of vanity, I am uncertain why the book exists. Perhaps he was playing out some sort of revenge or fantasy.
I mean, you did say that he was after power, and what's more powerful than someone writing a story where you control all the characters and everything that's made?
Baba Yaga speaks up. Then why not just be content with your little world in your little book? Why seek out more than that? Because he lacks satiation. He will always want more.
Mm-hmm.
And
no arguments here.
Tifu kind of grumbles a bit in the back. What if it was a trial run? A test for something else. To see what he could do in a controlled place.
Hey, how controlled are you talking?
Solely...
Not the Mechanist Authority control. What if he's trying to make this just a whole island that he has control over? Sorry, I'm probably mixing up what's going on, but it just alarmed me.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The Mechanist Authority sucks a whole lot too, so I would not put it past them to somehow be influenced by each other.
The idea that the Rose Upon the River was a trial run makes the idea that the book being a trial run for the prime material.
So different assholes, same hat?
Yeah. Same stick up the ass.
Baba Dishe speaks up. Similar motivations, then.
Seems like it.
Need to assert authority over that which bucks authority. He chose the Fae and our wilds for its raw potential, for the power it can wield, but it lacks a sort of finesse and a taste for a bridle. It does not wish to be held or, well, it does have the word wild in it.
If you have a place that's full of chaos magic on the prime material plane, then
Raw
clearly
power.
Order should be restored and controlled.
No, I think I don't think that it's order that they're trying to restore. I think I'm gonna try to continue this metaphor. Maybe they're not corks in a bottle. Maybe they're a funnel.
Oh shit. Siphoning rather than stifling.
Yeah, you get points for the alliteration too.
And the near rhyme. Verlaine chimes in. He's kind of dried out a little bit. He's letting them do the work for him. Even if they're not directly involving each other, maybe they're just doing what they want, and he wants them to keep doing it.
We've been thinking of this as two separate issues. I don't know if they are.
It's like settle. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. Keep going.
Saying he's trying to get back.
Weren't we sent after like the first edition or something? Is that? Am I off base in there?
No.
The archive. Baba Soli has rejoined the conversation. The great archive. Some worship it as a god. It is a place. She glances upward.
The Flumps talked about it like it was a celestial realm.
Just so. It is, as I said, a place where worlds are made. And she pats the book and hands it back to you, Oliet.
So, do we think that he's gonna make his own world if he gets to the archive? I mean, he kind of did with this, and she points at the book.
There are tools of creation there. When he came to us, it only seemed clear after he was driven out that was not the first time that he was driven out of a place. He wishes to return to the archive long after he was cast out. And Verlaine says, the Queen of the Trade.
Oh God.
She can travel between books. She could get him to the archive.
I mean, wasn't it said that
She
she
had to
can
take
only
the book.
travel between books in like proximity? Because, I mean,
I don't know. She,
He wanted me to take the
the primer.
the maritime primer to a library so she could visit a
Little
new-
big boys
Little Big
primer
Boys
of
first-
maritime
Maritime
economics.
economics. There we go.
I will
I
never not
I always
adore
think
that
of
book
Little
title.
Big Boys primer, and I'm like, it's not Little Big Boy. And then I'm like, no, it absolutely
It is Little Big Boy. Okay, that was okay. So that didn't happen though. We didn't take
Right,
that.
because I gave the book to somebody else, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that book won't end up in the archive at some point.
but didn't Baba Soli, didn't you say that everything that's done is recorded there? That it's so. I mean, if
Lives, words, everything.
right, so why isn't she already there?
And they
It
all
wouldn't be anything that we'd have to do, you know. It's if she's out.
I might be remembering wrong, but couldn't she only travel between books that have been in contact with the Oliet's book? Or been like stored
Juliet's
in the
heart
same
has already
place?
been sinking as she's looking at the book in her lap.
I think so.
But that's my
contact
point.
or proximity.
Proximity, I think. And to be kept in the same place. That's why she was able to get Button for me.
Button is the BBEG. No, it's fine.
Button, would you stop eating swamp creatures?
Swamp moths. No.
I
He's
appreciate
trying-
you're an excellent hunter, but please stop bringing me swamp moths.
Button's trying to eat marzipan. No.
Oh, I'm
I'm
sorry,
not-
marzipan. Oh God.
Sorry. That was just the sound of just the sound of the shadow person running on the mud. I'm sorry.
Okay, it is also the sound of very large moth
I
wings against
understand,
the
I'm
floor that I
sorry.
have heard for
I'm
4
sorry.
nights.
I mean, I'm
It's okay.
impressed. I'm also impressed with myself, but I'm very sorry.
It's alright.
The Babas don't have an answer for you.
Yeah. So
Gotta
because
do what we can.
so I mean, yeah, logically speaking, we couldn't take this book to the archive because then it would be directly in the archive. But if everything's already recorded in the archive and we've been carrying the book around and the book already existed, you know, a librarian had to put it there at some point. You know, wouldn't it already be in the archive? Is my question. at least, I don't know. Logic ain't my thing.
You're doing very well.
I don't know either. I mean, I'm good at stabbing things, not the existential stuff. I use that word right, Oliet?
Nika goes, yeah, that was right.
Literally been in almost a fugue state, like just watching this conversation happen.
Oliet, Baba solely stands from her seat and steps down the porch towards you. Where is your head right now? That is a question that you have been asked before by Her Majesty of the Word.
Is unable to stop the just hot tears from spilling out again. And I will say goodbye if I must. Conjecture will get us nowhere. Please just tell us how to get there. He's already tried to take one of our own. Bus and his story, we will return him to ash.
If you were to say that mere moments ago to me, but now I believe you. I believe you will try. And I believe that you are more capable of achieving it than most. This whole time her voice has also gotten a little softer, a little more familiar. You realize just a little bit of there's a blur happening. I do not know. And I am not accustomed to that sensation. I do not know what is best here.
I think we need the book for now, still. I mean, how else are we supposed to train if we don't have it?
I mean, couldn't. If we learned a lot while we were in the book with our respective queens, couldn't we learn a lot more from the real ones?
Sorry, that was Angela. You look over and you see Disha.
I think Harlan's more like being conscious of where Oliette's at right now. Like the grimace is like just don't want to downplay.
Don't just learn from Queen of the Vine. I'm taught by the Circle of the Spores too. I'm not. If I don't.
The old man in the forest, says the Baba Yaga. he is here as well. They are here as well. I suppose there are many of them.
It's good to know.
And Soli looks to you, Oliet, and says, "It is not outside of our power to train our champions. We do not leave this place. Our wilds are our kingdom, our queendom. Many beings may have the capacity to travel between realms. Few do. It is not in their nature. You all lack such rigid conceptions of yourselves. Perhaps that is why they chose you. You hear Gevi speak up. Mortals are such foolhardy creatures. Perhaps foolhardiness is what this requires. Verlaine looks up, has since sort of sat back on their heels a little bit in the mud still. Babazash is still kneeling next to him. They kind of glance at each other and she offers him a bare hand. He just really gingerly offers her his prosthetic. And their hands hold, and she kind of looks down at the hand, looks up at him. And there's a very keen empathy between the two of them. Baba Gevi does not seem to care. Has no emotional attachment to this person at all. Is more pissed at her name being used in this manner. If that is to be the plan, then have it be done. And Dishe says, "So we can have the tea party then." And Yaga says, "I have not had enough time with my child. If they're to stay, leave me to it." And Baba Yaga takes your hand, Paru, and starts trying to lead you into the house. "I need to show you all of the wonderful treasures that your brothers and sisters have made for me."
She's not saying no.
They are.
She's like, fuck, I'm not saying no to this. I've waited too long.
My children are so talented. They are... Yeah, you all have such... you all have such wonderful minds.
I met Keith not that long ago. He's
He's
such a
darling.
sweetheart. I love him.
Keith is adorable. I adore him.
He showed me his pipe, and he's the one who told me to get to the tree to find you.
Oh, of course he did. Always the smart one he was.
Absolutely.
And Paru and the Baba Yaga disappear into her house.
Well, you had a good run, Paro. You had a good run.
So, Tessa, re-rolling your character is how
All
that's
right,
gonna work.
okay. All right. 46, 3d6 drop, yeah, or point buy.
40.
Is that what you want? Goodbye, Paro. We loved you well. You met your end.
You found your grandma.
With your grandma.
You found your Baba. Yes, Paru gets death saves if you subscribe to Patreon. Oh, I'd never hold my players hostage like that. Anyway. And the rest of you are left in the room, or in the room. I say the room. You're in the circle of houses.
I think Harlan would hop down and like try to circle the remaining wagons inside the circle of houses. To like get, you know, the kids and Villain and like just kind of try to usher everybody towards each other, and you know, like so what do y'all want, because I think we're gonna be here until Paru finds a way out of that at the cottage.
The lights have turned on in the house.
Oh, that's
There's
good.
smoke.
That's promising.
There's smoke going through the chimney. Like
That's
it's gotten all
not-
hot. That's less promising.
I mean, it sounds like she's pretty happy about her kids, so hopefully Paru's all right in there. It doesn't sound like they want to kill us anymore, so that's good.
I never wanted to kill you. That's even more disturbing, Harlan, because you're like, am I supposed to be alive during this proceeding? And
I guess I only need one of them.
Amazing.
Baba Soli says to you, Oliette, I will leave it to you to decide the appropriateness of this course of action. But would it not be helpful for their majesties to have some input into their champion's training? And she kind of taps the book a little bit and glances at the remaining Babas. Perhaps not Gevi. If that does not...
Proposing.
Let them read the book, so that they may know what I have come to know. They may reach an understanding with their counterparts.
Now that does sound okay. You said not Baba Gevi, but I mean, all y'all's counterparts are gearing up for, you know, go to war against her.
Is that something you need to do first before we do this?
Oh no, I'm just saying that, you know, if we were gonna do that, if that is on the agenda, that who better to? I mean, is it a little uncouth to say, how would you kill yourself?
It is not simply transcribing the thoughts of another for you to read. We are here now. Therefore, I would not indulge this, however tragically created, usurper I would not have Gevi share whatever hint of her mind, warped as it is.
Oh no. Yeah, I wasn't saying that, you know, we get them in touch with one another. I was saying that, you know, if Her Majesty the Trade is a copy of Baba Gevi, then maybe Baba Gevi can give us something that would give us an advantage over the Queen of the Trade, that the Queen of the Trade might not know that we have at our disposal. Kind of like
Anything I
inside
know about
information.
myself would be useful against myself as well. Why would I give you any of that?
Well, that's why I said that was a little uncouth of me to ask how you'd kill yourself.
Solely let me at her. I will extinguish the... No, Gevi, that is not how it works. How do you know? You're not the only one who's all-knowing. That very question answers yours.
Okay, I retract my idea. It was.
Is that your new character sheet, Tessa?
Yes.
Fuck
yes,
you.
it is.
Fuck you, you're fine. God damn it.
Oh, not part. Okay.
Not part.
A centaur.
So, as you're all talking, Villain stands up. Baba Zasha helps him stand up. And he looks out at all of you and says, I want to end her.
Yes.
I'm glad you can say it.
It's another moth.
I'm sorry.
Turn to Baba Soli. Defer to what you think is best, but I did make an oath that I would go back and help her. And if I cannot take her with me, then I have to say goodbye.
This... And she kind of touches the book. This is your charge. Protect it. Ask your lady after all is settled. I'm just gonna reenactment of Animal Crossing here.
So sorry.
It's great.
So sorry. I can't believe she brought another one in. I'm so sorry.
Oliet. Do what is best for your friend. The rest will find its path. You have yet to stray from our greatest hopes.
Well, it seems that we may be here for a bit. If you'll teach us while we're here, we'll do whatever is necessary.
Then an accord has been struck. And she offers you a hand. that is where we will end our session. With you all training with your real life counterparts in the Feywild. Question. What level are you all?
5.
5?
6.
6. Why would you undersell that?
6.
Devin?
Yeah.
6? When we get back next week, you will all be 8th.
Oh shit.
What?
Oh.
I apparently
Ready
never
for a
leveled up harder
montage.
then because she was still 5th level. Whoopsie-doodle. Cat, I swear to God, if you brought in another moth, I will end you.
She needs to just stay inside then.
No, she's inside. Okay, okay.
And
So sorry.
Verlaine will be respecking, actually.
Oh.
Ooh.
Did he get a new patron? Is that what happened? Did he
You might find yourselves with a redemption paladin in your group.
Fuck yeah! That's amazing. I'm so excited by that.
So, that is what I have for tonight. You all have been absolutely amazing in chat. Thank you all players. You all were, of course, very game for the goth witch nonsense I threw at you.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
I'm very pleased.
Is Verlaine gonna train with Zasha instead?
Mm-hmm. Gotta love that double
that
redemption.
Was just, Button trying to bring her stream donations to us was the problem. Is she doesn't have Amazon Prime,
Mm-hmm.
so
As an apology to my lovely players, to my players who donated, Mitch and Mouse, Marzipan, and Acacia will be in next week's episode. You'll get to learn more about Marzipan, and Acacia will show up.
nice.
All right. And that is where I will leave you all for this evening. Thank you so much to our raiders. Thank you to the hype train we had at the beginning of the session. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week. Be sure to catch us same time, same place, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern here on We Are Nerdsmith on Twitch. And follow us on Twitter if you want to get a heads up when we're going live. And about all of our other programming. So, hell yeah. I like this show. I just want to say that. Anyway, you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Please take care of yourselves. Make good choices. And above all, please do us a favor and be good to each other. All right. Good night, everybody. Mwah. To be continued, chapter 39. Bye-bye.